President Biden told reporters they just have to wait and see what's coming in his address to the nation tomorrow night. The United States has not seen an address where a president tells the nation why he will not seek re-election since 1968. Lyndon Johnson made these famous remarks, which reportedly came as a surprise to most of the staff in the White House.
Accordingly, I shall not seek and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
All right, his vice president went on to win the nomination, also without any votes being cast. Hubert Humphrey got a few votes, but by and large did not win the majority of the Democratic primary election. Humphrey went on to be the nominee and then lose in a profound fashion to Richard Nixon in 1968. With us now, former U.S. Senator from Alabama, close friend to President Biden, Doug Jones. Senator, good to see you, sir. Appreciate it. How does Joe Biden avoid that fate of Lyndon Johnson to see his vice president lose spectacularly to Donald Trump?
Well, I think he's on a road to do that. I think at the moment he endorsed her, and I don't think you saw that from with Lyndon Johnson and Hubert Humphrey. But the moment he passed the torch to Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party rallied around here like her, like no other that I have seen in my lifetime, the excitement around his candidacy. I think that's a big, big thing. Remember, there were primaries following his withdrawal. Robert F. Kennedy was shot. So there was a summer of turmoil in the Democratic Party and in America. I don't think we're going to see that. We're going to see a wonderful convention. We're going to see I think, a celebration of Joe Biden and his incredible career over the last 50 years. And then you'll see that passing the torch and a celebration of Kamala Harris as our nominee going into November.
Unity, sunshine, and unicorns are all wonderful at conventions. The Republicans just had them. And then things change, right? Drastically. I mean, if you think about how things changed a week ago when Donald Trump was shot, they changed again through the convention, and then they changed again on Sunday when Joe Biden dropped out, and now Kamala Harris is the nominee. Things change. The question is candidate quality. And Kamala Harris failed spectacularly in 2020 as a candidate. And yes, I know she's had experience as vice president, but experience as vice president and being kept in a bubble where you only talk to The View and occasionally go talk to very happy Democratic-based crowds does not prepare you for a Democratic election. In fact, it does the opposite. It doesn't toughen your skin. It weakens you. And how are Democrats? I get it, they're excited, but how are you confident in Kamala Harris?
Well, that is incredibly both naive and like juvenile way of looking at the vice president of the United States. She has not just simply gone into happy places and The View any more than anybody else has. She has been road tested.
Due respect. Hold on. No. Hold on. You just called me juvenile, Senator. The last big interview she did was the Lester Holt, and Lester Holt had to correct her that she hasn't been to the border. Come on.
She hasn't been to the border. She's been all over the world. She has met with foreign leaders. She has addressed security conferences. She's broken tie votes in the United States Senate. She was a United States Senator. We worked together on HBCUs. To say that she has just not done one thing to go to the border or simply gone to happy places is juvenile. It's absurd. It is a simplistic view and quite candidly, a biased view of the vice president. She has been a strong vice president. She has especially found a voice on one of the most important issues facing in America, and that's women's rights and the right that they have to control their own bodies. That is an issue of which she has found her voice. She has got a platform. And contrast that with Donald Trump, who brags about putting the folks on the Supreme Court that overturned Roe versus Wade, and J.D. Vance, who has consistently said he wants a nationwide ban. So I think she is going to be able to hold her own as a former prosecutor, as a former senator, and a United States attorney, whether she gets on The View or not.
All right. I will give you unquestionably that on the issue of women's rights, she has excelled in terms of how she has brought that and the way she has rallied Democrats around it. Senator, always welcome to have you on set. We got to run to the top of the hour, but thank you, sir.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.